It's the same old thing.
Back here on the House of Pain, I'm Joe Nelson with the founder of the ARP Wave Clinic, Dennis Thompson. And now we have some questions, so let's start with this. A listener writes, my son has a history of hamstring problems every year in football and track. He pulls his hamstring every year, basically. Not good. He's very tight in the hamstring. What do you think that tightness leads to? And what is the problem, and can your system help?
Well, first off, the reason that he's tight in the hamstrings is the muscles are not working efficiently. So, example, you've got a quad and you've got a hamstring. What this tells us is that the quad is doing all the work and the hamstring's doing absolutely
So the
nothing.
top of your thigh to the bottom of the thigh.
Exactly. So all the work, and we see this a lot in NHL players. We see it a lot in college hockey and football because they're quad-dominant athletes. So what happens is when that quad gets really, really fatigued, the hip flexor shortens, and now we have groin problems and we have back problems and all that. The reason he's consistently tearing his hamstring is he does not know how to contract the hamstring and relax the quadricep. So in other words, when you do a curl, Joe,
Yes.
when you're in a gym and you do a curl, generally you pull the weight up, which shortens the muscle, right?
Yes, it does.
And 99% of all people do what? They let the weight down by gravity.
Yes.
So how is this side of your muscle, the tricep, ever going to know how to work if you don't work it? So to do a curl, you do it like this. You pull up and pull down.
Oh, really?
Because now you're training the tricep to extend the arm. Otherwise, you haven't trained the tricep.
So are people doing it wrong still? If I know most weightlifters, if you're working on your arms and back one day, for example, you do your curls, you do your 3 sets of 10 or whatever you're doing, whatever your workout is out there.
Yep.
But then you'll do your tricep raises or something like that.
Absolutely.
That's wrong?
Completely wrong.
Oh,
because
wow.
your muscles work in concert. The key to athleticism and the key to moving freely without pain, whether you're 100 years old or whether you're 10 years old, the key is still the same. It's the relaxation of the antagonist muscle. So if you're contracting the bicep, you better be relaxing or elongating the tricep.
Okay.
When you do a curl, the way 99% of all people do a curl, you do not train the tricep.
How did we get so dumb in the first place?
Our search is to get bigger and stronger and demonstrate how strong we are rather than develop the muscle the way it is supposed to work.
Okay, and how can you fix that? I mean, we're talking about the hamstring. Same problem could be up in your arm with the biceps here. How do you fix that, Dennis?
Okay, this kid, I can tell you, squats by letting gravity drop him down. And he pushes up with his quad.
Yeah.
So what is happening with the hamstring?
Nothing. Yeah.
So consequently, the hamstring gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and it does not know how to relax. So when it gets forced, the quad and the hamstring contract together, and bang, you're going to have a tear. So what we do is we go in and we find out why is that happening. Once we identify the why is it happening, then we have to identify where is it coming from.
Yep.
Once we do that, which takes approximately 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
We solve the problem. Because now the hamstring instantaneously relaxes, and this young man who's really, really tight, I'll have him palming the ground in less than 5 minutes.
Okay, so now you talk about 15 minutes. That's just in the clinic. How long is the actual process overall?
10 treatments.
10 treatments.
15 minutes of treatment. By the 5th treatment, he'll be running faster than he's ever run before. He'll be looser than he's ever been before. And then the next 6 treatments, which are 15 minutes each, will give him the ability to maintain what we just gave him in the first 4.
So is that a 10-day process?
10-day process. Now, if I've got a kid in here right now from Clearwater, Florida, who came in, the coach brought him in, got a torn ACL, told he needs surgery. We're going to do 4 treatments today, 4 treatments tomorrow, 2 on Saturday. We'll send him back, and he's not going to get surgery.
Torn ACL. The guy should be missing 6 months of football or whatever track and field. I don't know what sport he's playing, but you've got to be kidding me.
No.
Huh? Dwight Freeney, Jimmy Clausen, example, local level, right there. That is impressive, Dennis. That's really impressive. How about this? Another listener writes, my doctor has diagnosed me as bone on bone and told me I need a knee replacement. What can you do for them with the ARP system?
Well, with the ARP system right now, we're able to prevent in excess of 200 joint replacement surgeries a month right now.
Wow.
And the way it works is this. There's no doubt that they're bone on bone. But the two questions that have never been asked or answered is, why am I bone on bone? And it has nothing to do with age. And where is the problem coming from? The doctor is trained to fix the joint. I'm trained to find out why it happened to begin with. Once I solve that problem with our system, we then build the shock absorber. So we're going to use a simple analogy. If I go out right now, take all the shocks off your automobile.
Yeah.
We drive around town for a while. It's going to be a rough ride, but we're not going to do a lot of damage, right?
No.
We go to Alaska and back to go fishing, you're not going to have a car. It's going to be metal on metal,
Yeah,
right?
you're going to be riding the bus.
Bone on bone, metal on metal.
Okay.
Now, you got two choices.
Get some shocks.
Get some shocks or throw the car away. Which are you going to do?
I'm going to get some shocks.
We're going to give that person some shocks. Those shocks now are their muscles. The muscles are now working efficiently. The muscle absorbs the force. The force doesn't go into the joint. The joint isn't irritated, and bingo, bango, no more pain.
Let me ask you another question from the emailer before we run out of time. Emailer writes, I just had major reconstructive ACL surgery and was told that I would not be able to play football this year. Could your system help?
Absolutely. I mean, we just had Thomas Davis from the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, linebacker, yep.
Had total knee reconstruction. Told he wasn't going to play the season. He's in OTA and ran a 4.35 40.
He was a speedster about 5-6 years ago out of college, no doubt about it.
4.35.
And he's faster now, perhaps.
Faster now.
Oh, funny how that works, huh?
So it takes typically with ACL reconstruction about 6 weeks before we can have somebody return to play or return to a quality of life of activity. So if we're talking about a 65-year-old guy who's got a torn ACL, doctor tells him he's 9 months, he can't play golf, do anything. 5.5 weeks later, he'll be playing golf.
What if they want to talk to you, the listeners out there? If they call you up at 952-431-9708, how many representatives do you have? How long is that process? Can they get in and out real quickly?
We can get them in very, very quickly. We've got clinics all over the world. We have an external clinic where, like I said, we do probably 200 to 400 treatments every single day somewhere in the world, all over the webcam, just like they're in our clinic. They call us, we'll help them.
I only got to about 1/10 of the questions I had in my head right off the bat, Dennis, but I'm glad we got to do what we did so far. So will you reiterate the special one more time?
Sure. The special is that we're so convinced we'll help you that we'll basically, if you're local, come into our clinic, we'll give you a free treatment and demonstrate to you so you can see for yourself if not, we can help you. If you live outside of the area, don't want to trek on into Burnsville, we'll send a $15,000 piece of equipment out to them, a webcam. We'll treat them in their own home, no cost, no obligation, just to prove to them we can help them.
Brilliant stuff, Dennis. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad I got the opportunity to come on in here and talk to you.
Yeah, it's fun.
And Common should be back next week, so if you miss, well, I guess you can't really call this Nothing at 7:30. Like he calls this show Nothing at Noon. This is a whole lot at 7:30. Common will bring it with you with Dennis next week. Dennis Thompson, the founder of the ARPWave Clinic and ARPWave System. You can find more at www.arpwave.com or give his clinic a call at 952-431-9708. You're in Burnsville?
We are in Burnsville, and our corporate office is in Apple Valley.
What's the nearest major road to your offices?
The nearest road on Burnsville would be Highway 13. The nearest road on Apple Valley would be Cedar.
Okay.
So Cedar and 145th for corporate, 13 and Cliff.
I was just down there a couple of weeks ago at the Burnsville Performing Arts Center. So very nice area down there. Go check him out. Dennis Thompson. This was the House of Pain and the ARPWave show, essentially. Fix yourself, people. Let's do it. We'll be back again next week at 7:30. Until then, we'll see you later.
For more on ARPWave technology, visit arpwave.com. That's ARPwave.com.